Hello folks, so this is the Trike we're going to be putting the TSDZ motor on. It's an HP Velotechnik FS26. It's been our primary touring trike. Wife and I both have one. We're adding an electric motor to this one specifically to make it a bit easier to pull our dog. He's a 70-pound bundle of energy that we have a dog trailer for. This is all the parts we need to install our new motor, TSDZ2. And here is the battery and charger we went with. And this cool charger. In getting ready to remove the cranks on both sides and your chain ring, you remove the pedals. It just makes it easier. Plus, I'm going to use these pedals on the new crank set we put on with the new chain rings for the electric motor. So to do so, I've already removed one, but to remove these, I'm using a PW4 part tool. Very simple. There's an indentation on the side. Nothing to it. This one was already loose, so there you go. Nothing to it. In order to remove the cranks, these are square taper cranks, so you need a tool called a compact crank puller. I bought one from Park Tool. It's the CWP-7. It has two different size heads on it for the different size cranks you may run into. Next, we're going to remove the screw that's holding the crank and the cap on. But anyway, I actually have a Park Tool for this as well, but any correct size tool will work. This one's easy. I've already broken it loose. So essentially, you just unscrew this. And there you go. The next step is you're going to take your handy dandy crank puller. I don't know if you can see it. That should help it a little bit better. And you're going to find the appropriate size end. It just so happens it's the smaller end on this one. So you thread this in until it bottoms out, and then you take a wrench and turn this in until it gets tight. And then you'll tighten this down. These are already loose, but as you tighten it down, it pushes the crank until it comes off the square fitting for it. Nothing to it. Now, the next step is we need to remove the bottom bracket. This is your bottom bracket. Essentially, it's bearings on each side inside an enclosed tube that has threaded fittings on each side. This one's a cap, and this one is the insert that actually pulls out the whole side. So for this, we're going to use another Park tool that I like. It's the BBT-22. The reason we're using this one is this particular bottom bracket is a 20 tooth. So it's pretty easy. I've already broken it loose. It was a little tight. I have a little 3-foot cheater bar that I used, and it didn't take much torque at all to remove it. If they've been in for a long time, sometimes it takes a little bit of torque to get them out. It shouldn't, but it might. So you simply just, this is the tool. You thread it in. Use your 3/8 inch ratchet. And it's a standard config. Left to loosen, right to tighten. There you go. Now let's do the other side. These are the complete opposite threads. So instead of going clockwise to tighten, you go counterclockwise to tighten. So it's a left-handed thread. So you make sure when you're loosening it, you go clockwise. Truvative. Used a particular bottom bracket for this one. Nothing to it. Now let's install our motor. Fairly easy. If you remember, we took out our bottom bracket bearing from the bottom bracket. This is the bottom bracket. This is the bottom bracket axle and bearing that's going to slide in and hold the motor on. Slide it through the bottom bracket. Use this lock plate they provide. Here's the lock plate. Slides on. They have 2 bolts and 2 spacers. So we'll slide the bolt in through the spacer, like so, and we'll get that started. We'll get the other one. Get that one started. This helps secure it to the bottom bracket. But if you'll notice what just happened, notice how this motor rocks up and down like this. So this won't have enough tension on it. This lock ring won't have enough tension to hold it in place. That's merely to hold the motor onto the bottom bracket. So what we need to do is add our lock ring first, and we'll snug it down with the included tool here. There we go. Then, to prevent this from rocking back and forth like that, remember we installed this clamp. This clamp's purpose is to prevent it from moving back and forth. So let's get that in. There we go. Now, the motor cannot rock back and forth, so that secures it. I'll check all the connections and snug them up, but that's basically it. Let's go over the various cables you'll be using to install the options you decided on when you purchased your motor. You have your battery cable, motor to battery. You have a speed sensor cable that hooks into the motor, into the speed sensor. You have a multi-purpose cable. I'm not sure if that's the right name, it's just what I'm calling it, but it handles various different options in one cable. In this particular cable, you have your display, and this display has a built-in controller on it, so it doesn't have a separate controller. You have your e-brake options, inline or built into the handle. You can purchase this entire handle and just replace your existing brakes, or you can wire it with your, just forget this cable's here. This is your standard brake cable that's on your Trike now. You take out the brake cable and you wire this inline sensor. And then you have your throttle control. I have all of these options, but right now I'm only going to install the controller and the speed sensor because I'm not putting the e-brake controllers on there yet. So essentially these will be gone, so all I'll have is what you see here: battery, speed sensor, controller, and throttle. And to do that, let's get rid of this. I'll be using this cable. So we only have 2 connectors, color-coded, as you'll notice when you get your kit. So this will go to the actual controller, just like this, green to green. And then the speed sensor has its own plug coming off of the motor. So it's a, I think it's a 6-pin. Yes, a 6-pin that plugs into the speed sensor off the motor. So we'll have this plugged into, let's go ahead and do it here so make it not confusing. Oh, so much pressure to get it right. Oh, there we go. All right, and then this will be going to the throttle. like so. So in essence, these two off of this cable, speed sensor and battery connector. Let's get the controls for the motor mounted now. I went ahead and pulled off the foam grip from the handle to make it easier. My thoughts are I'm going to try to run the control lines down through the foam grip and see if that'll work. If not, we'll figure something else out. I've also assembled on the Terracycle mount. This is the cockpit mount I was telling you about. Here's the display and here's the control. So the way this mounts is you put this bracket here, you slide it in. But before I do that, what I want to do is mount the throttle control. I did a couple of mock-ups and it seems like it's going to work better if we go ahead and slide this on first. We'll get that out of the way. Then let's mount the collar for the handle and then cockpit. So that's the concept, is what I'm thinking. And then I'll slide this grip down so it'll be sitting like this. And then you'll have easy access to the throttle right here. While you're holding the grip, you'll have the throttle and you can still reach up and hit the controls for the display and the motor. Let's try to get this all mounted together and then we'll see what happens. All right, let's see if we can get all this to slide down. So first we're going to slide the display controller cable down and then our throttle cable. Let's see if we can slide it down there as well. Let's see if this will fit. I hope it will. I need a couple extra hands. So let's see if we can slide this down with these cables in there. Oh, that worked pretty easy. Slide the throttle on. I'll need to go down a little bit further. There we go. Let's put the collar on for the Terracycle Mount. Oh, didn't leave enough slack. All right, let's pull it up a little bit more. All right, there we go. All right, now let's see if we can pull the cables down without tearing the grip. You have to be real careful with these foam grips. They tear extremely easy. That's looking pretty good. So if I'm sitting there, I can hit the throttle. I think that's going to work. All right, I'll snug all this up and then we'll move on to the next step. Let's mount our speed sensor. Speed sensor is pretty simple. It's got a receiver and it's got a magnet that attaches to the spokes. And as the wheel turns and this magnet goes back and forth like this, it records your revolution per minute and it translates that to speed. All right, let's see if we can make a bracket or a little booster for our speed sensor. I took a pool noodle, cut out a chunk of it, cut this piece out. It's going to fit on the frame like this. And what I'm thinking is I'll just cut a notch and try this, and we'll just have to try it back and forth and see if it'll fit, but I'm thinking about it. So I'm just going to carve out a little section here. That ought to work, I think. Now we'll take zip ties. We'll go around it. All right, let's see if this is going to work. Just slide it on here. Still a little loose, so I can plug it in and put the battery on and do a test. There we go. I think that's going to work. Let's mount our battery holder. I purchased an HP Velotechnik mount because it's designed specifically for this trike. Third-party mounts mount on a traditional round tube frame. HP Velotechnik uses an oval tube for extra stiffness there. So this is the mount that I purchased. It's designed to mount between the rear rack holder and the idler pulley. So let's pull off the idler pulley and I'll show you what they're asking for in regards to new hardware. They want you to add some washers. So let's pull this off. If you can see it, there's chain tube holder, another chain tube holder, and this comes off. So we have the chain holder. Let me hold it so you can see it. There you go, chain holder. And they want you to add 2 washers here and the chain holder, just like that. So when we get ready to remount it, let's pull this out. So we put our bolt through. Here's the battery mount. We go into the idler pulley, add our 2 washers, and then the chain keeper. They tell you to put some thread lock on here, medium strength, so let's go ahead and clean these threads off a little bit. I'm using a brass brush to do that. And here is our medium strength thread compound. This is the gel version versus liquid. I just prefer it better. It doesn't run around everywhere. So let's rethread our chain tube holders. Get it started. Chain slides up in there, the chain keeper holds the chain in. We'll do finger tight for now. Now let's remove our rear rack screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it. Now, they provide another bolt for this. Notice this has shoulders because that's recessed. Well, this section is flat, so this won't work. So they provide a new bolt. So let's add a touch of Loctite to this. Thread compound. Loctite is the brand. Alright, we'll snug that down. Then I'm going to check this to make sure everything's still flowing like it should. And we'll tighten that down nice and snug. And there's your battery holder. Let's mount our battery base. This is the battery mount. This is the battery base. This is what your battery will slide onto. And the electrical connection will go to the motor. So I'm going to connect this with a couple of stainless steel screws and some nylocks. That way I won't have to worry about it coming loose, and I won't use Loctite and take it off easy whenever I need. So let's go ahead. It gives you a little sliding plate here so you can adjust it however you need to. And I'm just going to get this started. I'm not going to tighten it up until I actually put the battery on. So I mean until I finish wiring up the battery. That way I can get an idea of where and how long the cable to the motor needs to be. There you go, all there is to it. Alright, I got the battery in. Let's see if we can get it to turn on. Alright. Now let's see. Hey, it's working. See the speed? Alright. And we didn't let any smoke out, so that's a good thing. So let's get on and go for a little spin. Alright, we're on assist level 1. You can hear a little bit of a whine coming from the motor. Not bad in my opinion. This is on the lightest setting, or the easiest setting, I'm sorry, or the least assist level, I should say. So on 1, goes all the way up to 5. That's giving you the most assist. Going up a very small hill. Very easy with the assist turned on. Let's turn around here and head back down. So far, I'm really pleased. Just went for a short test spin. Everything's working as it should. I love this display. It's much easier to see even in this bright sunlight. I'm real happy with it. No surprises, which is a good thing. Batteries installed. This is a 40-tooth cog chain ring on the front. I believe I'm going to change that to a 34 because, like I said, the intent is to pull trailers and things like that. But other than that, it worked really well. I'm very pleased so far.